Yeah.
But Hemi goes after, does all of this, and the kid is vital, right? Because if it's just some random punk kid, it's like, why go through all of that? But there is something about the kid that, he's a good kid. He doesn't like approve of his father's lifestyle, right?
Mhm.
He's obviously a kid, but he
Yeah.
knows a little bit about right and wrong, and how, the type of person that he wants to sort of be, and his interactions. They interjected or injected a couple of sweet moments between the two of them, right?
Hmm.
Sort of
Yeah, they
like
had
building
like
up
a
the
heartfelt.
relationship. What did you guys feel though? And obviously, the extra or behind the scenes or the deeper rooted motivation for Chris Hemsworth, and part of the reason that's revealed of why he's so not give a fuck, almost suicidal in a way, is it's slowly revealed that he had a kid, right? He has visions of his child that's no longer, right? So in a way, he
Hmm.
kind of sees this kidnapped kid that he's sent to rescue as, you know, I don't know, fulfilling, some sort of like fatherly duty. Maybe the kid reminds him of his own kid.
Well, he said he felt guilty because his son died of childhood cancer, and he, I think he might have been in the army before, Chris Hemsworth, and he like volunteered to go on deployments,
Yeah, that
when
was a
his
big
kid was
regret for
sick
him.
because he
Is
couldn't watch his kid being sick.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? So this was my first thought. So they did have a sequence. So after that whole 12-minute sequence, that whole action thing where someone's trying to retake the kid, where everyone's trying to retake the kid, and Hemsworth ends up with the kid. They go hide out in one place. Uh, they have a little discussion or a talk, and then they move because that dude from Stranger Things, I guess, is a friend of Chris Hemsworth. But they have a sequence where the kid is
David
in
Harbour.
bed, right, and Hemsworth is talking, and you just knew that like he was gonna say, "I'm not brave." And I had problems with that because I was like, it's so telegraphed, it's so cliche. Come up with just different dialogue. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the scene. It's just use different words, right? Because you hear it so much and you see it being set up. It's like
Mhm.
you're just waiting. I know he's gonna say, "I am not brave. I am not brave." But you're right. It was kind of discovered, or he does reveal that instead of facing the deterioration and the death of his own son, he volunteered to go overseas to serve another tour of duty in Iraq or something like that, right?
Hmm.
And so, in essence, he does sell the fact that, well, yeah, I mean, shit, he couldn't brave through, and be there for his family, because it was just too painful for him.
Yeah.
What do you guys think
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, I kind of like cringed at the "I'm not brave" line. Because
You
it
knew it
just
was
is so.
coming.
Yeah, I knew. I was just like, I was kind of hoping they would say something else. Something more
I
like
wish he was just like, you damn right I'm
intuitive.
brave. I'm Chris Hemsworth, bitch.
Woo! I played Thor. Um, yeah. I mean, yeah, that heartfelt scene like kind of revealed his motivations.
Hmm.
Um, but I feel like we're still like missing something. Because well, I guess this story is kind of supposed to be his redemption because, he inferred that after his son died, he became a mercenary and started taking on these like bloody jobs and like killed people for hire or whatever. Um, but now that he's like making a connection with this kid, he feels the need to save him, which I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what? I guess I have a little different take on this, and I'm a little like a little looser on this, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Yes, but I think part of like filmmaking too for me is like the intention. So I'm a little hard on other movies if the intention is okay. The intention is to highlight the story. Well, then your story better be good. But I see movies like Dread or Raid these, and it's not just me, but these are well reviewed, well respected movies, not just
That's
with
right.
fans, but with critics. And, those are very simple stories. Their purpose, their intent is to, deliver the action, deliver the exhilaration, deliver the, adrenaline. So I definitely agree with you with the stories, but it just, in this particular movie, doesn't affect me as much as it would other movies.
but then they still try to put in some sort of um some more of a plot line or like something deeper. 'Cause
I
especially
agree,
when
and if you're
Obi
gonna
says,
try, why don't you just try and do it well? So
yeah, and
yeah,
that's what bothers me
I
about
agree.
it.
What about you? Yes. What do you think about that? The
I,
intent versus if you're gonna try, then you might as well try and do it well.
yeah. Yeah. I totally agree with all you. Most of you said. Definitely there was some cringe moments for me while I was watching that. But my whole problem with all the shit is not the fact that, oh, all of a sudden Chris Hemsworth decides to basically save the kid. Because now at this point we know that he's not going to receive any money because just before they got rescued by this guy Gasper, or like David Harbour character, uh,
Yeah, was
he
his character necessary? Well, I mean, he was a friend, and they needed a place to hide out, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah, they just
basically
needed a place to hide out and rest.
so
Right,
I
but
had I had like yeah, exactly. So my problem is not the fact that he all of a sudden he decides to save this kid. My problem is that how on earth on the city of Dhaka, which is like the most random place on earth, Chris Hemsworth happened to know a guy by the
an
name
American friend.
Who's
American
living
friend
there?
who is living there, and he owes his life basically to Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
That's
because the
what.
mercenary group wasn't even based there.
So
Right, they imported the group, right?
Yeah,
So it was just like a what the fuck moment when I
Yeah.
saw all of a
yeah.
sudden an American guy with a Toyota car appeared, saved them, got them back to his house. Now they are having this like chat about like their life prior to that, and or like some like they have basically like a fun talk, entertaining talk about they past and how good to see how it's good for them to see each other after a long time. It was just like insane, insane. So first of all, for me, that whole place in the plot could not even happen. It wasn't even feasible. So why on earth they decide to put like a character there? It's just like to me,
I I feel like they needed someone in there to challenge Chris Hemsworth's decision to save the kid, because I feel like that was the point of David Harbour's character, because David Harbour's character tried was planning on betraying them and like turning the kid back over to the rival gangster, because he was like, well, look, all these people are dying just for this one kid who's the son of a drug lord.
Yeah, that would have
um
worked. It's just too bad they didn't set up David Harbour's character like at all. He's in there, and then
no.
all of a sudden, like he turns on Hemsworth like within minutes. You know.
Hmm.
So I'd rather, yeah,
That was
you know what?
weird.
That's a good point. If they introduced a challenge like a secondary thought to the Chris Hemsworth's whole driver motivation in this movie, I think that would have been interesting, and maybe get
Yeah.
rid of that fucking side story with that young kid with the scar and
Oh
being
yeah.
humiliated. Like,
that was
That
the
was
oddest.
so I hated that.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
just so use those chunks of times to maybe devote to the David Harbour character. He's a more interesting person, anyways, and maybe tweak that whole why he's there in the first place, like Yaz mentioned, just fucking out of nowhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you guys want to talk about? Why don't you guys give me your point of view? Because I hated that little kid side story and this whole humiliation. I want revenge.
also
I
I don't get okay. I don't get how Chris Hemsworth's action towards that kid is more humiliating than the actions of his lord towards him. Because it seems his lord, the drug lord, is humiliating him even more.
Yeah,
It's so
exactly. He wanted to cut
Yeah.
off 2 of his fingers, right? And then he just like ran out of time.
yeah,
And then he gets slapped by Hemsworth and then volunteers to cut off a pinky and go. Yeah, I don't know. It just
He was attacking Hemsworth, and Hemsworth didn't kill him
yeah. Yeah,
because
but instead of like, "Oh wow, whew, I almost
he
got
doesn't want
killed
to
by
kill
this
any
motherfucker,"
kids.
right? He was like, "He slapped me in the face. I want revenge. Let me be the one." Like, fuck, stop
I feel like
whining.
that reaction doesn't like make sense with like the personality they set up for him.
It
Because
doesn't.
when
Yeah.
his character first appeared and they threw off one of the other kids off the roof
Yeah,
building
and he
because they were
tried to
like,
save
"Oh,
his
the
group by
money."
saying, "Oh no, 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 that dude that you just threw off, he was the one that fucked you over."
Yeah.
You know, so
So
it seemed like he had good intent, and then all of a sudden, like he wants to be, the new dude in the crew. Like, yeah, I agree with you 100%. That whole
also
side
yeah,
story is
that's just
terrible.
it doesn't make sense.
it doesn't. Also, the other thing that doesn't make sense at all to me is that how on earth those kids find Chris Hemsworth all of a sudden without so basically in the movie we are seeing Chris Hemsworth and like the kid is gradually trying to leave their like the place that they were hiding at, and they were found by the this like a Scarface kid with bunch of other like little kids crew, and there was a fight scene. So my question is that how on earth those kids supposed to be the one who find Chris Hemsworth out of nowhere? So it was like the most what the fuck moment, what the fuck moment.
Yeah, there's a lot of, we reviewed Parasite, and a lot of little details you realize, like the care that Bong Joon-ho put into it, because he always set everything up, like the setting up the use of a hot sauce packet later on with selling the fact that someone might have tuberculosis or something like that. Anyways, there's not. I mean, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of things that don't make sense, that aren't set up properly. I mean, another example of that is you see in the beginning of the movie that the rival gang member who kidnaps the kid, he has working for him like the captain of the police, and he's just standing there next to him following orders, and all of a sudden at the very end you find out he's this like fucking ridiculously good sniper. Like, it wasn't set up
Yeah,
at
like who
all.
is this guy?
Yeah, and then the actress, the Iranian actress, oh yeah, guess what? She's a bomb ass sniper too. Like,
Yeah, she took
You
out a
know what? Okay,
helicopter.
no, but the thing is that at least with the mercenary side, I get a few things. Like for the mercenary side, I get that probably because Nick character, the Iranian girl character. So she is part of. She's basically the lead or the facilitator of the whole this mercenary group. So she
Yep.
might have some skills. So she knows that she probably. I mean, it's more plausible for me to think that oh, she's the hell of the sniper than the other dude who is the colonel, and he didn't even have his hand dirty from the beginning, and now all of a sudden he decides to go there himself and like shoot people himself.
yeah, no, I
So
mean, like I understand skills, but sniping is like another skill, on top of it. So, and then just aside from that, like I'm a huge fan of fighting video games and fight movies, and what's important to me is not just the strength of your hero character, but also setting up the strengths of your villains. You want this to be a good matchup. You don't want David to go versus. Well, no, that's a bad example. But it just there's no buildup of anticipation. Like if I had known the captain was this like great sniper and he's something to worry about, it builds up the excitement and the anticipation for the final showdown. And it's just all of a sudden people are going down and, oh, it was the captain. He's over there. He's really good at shooting. please feel free to like and subscribe. Ask these people.
Yeah, hit that button. We want to hear from you.
It's so easy. And you will not get disappointed.
Yes.
Please cut that last part.